Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today, we will learn about the explosive developments coming in the Wednesday, December 10th, 2025 episode that will leave fans absolutely stunned. Get ready for shocking confrontations, dangerous alliances, and secrets that could destroy everything our favorite Port Charles residents hold dear. Justine Turner's dangerous game. Justine Turner finds herself in a precarious position as she continues plotting her next strategic move. The cunning woman arranges a private meeting with Molly Lansing Davis to discuss her elaborate scheme to bring down a powerful adversary. During their intense conversation, Justine reveals crucial information about her investigation, confidently declaring that she's finally closing in on her target. She tells Molly with unwavering determination that within days, possibly hours, she will possess the evidence needed to completely dismantle this mysterious man's empire. The intriguing question remains, who exactly is Justine referring to when she mentions taking him down? Three prominent suspects emerge from the shadows. Could she be targeting Drew Cain, the ambitious congressman whose recent actions have raised eyebrows throughout Port Charles? Perhaps her sights are set on Sonny Corinthos, the coffee importer with deep connections throughout the city. Or might she be preparing to expose Jen Sidwell, the dangerous international figure who has been terrorizing multiple Port Charles families? Molly's reaction provides fascinating clues about the identity of Justine's target. The young attorney displays a knowing smile during their conversation, suggesting she approves of whoever Justine plans to expose. Given Molly's complicated history and current allegiances, many viewers believe Drew Cain stands as the most likely candidate for Justine's takedown operation. Drew's recent controversial decisions and questionable political maneuvers have created numerous enemies, making him vulnerable to exposure. Justine's strategy might involve an unexpected angle that nobody sees coming. If Drew truly loves Willow Tate Cain as deeply as he claims, perhaps Justine plans to use that emotional connection against him. By threatening Willow's reputation, freedom, or safety, Justine could force Drew into an impossible position where he must choose between protecting the woman he loves and salvaging his own career. This manipulative approach would demonstrate just how ruthless Justine has become in her quest for justice or revenge. Drew and Willow's false security. Meanwhile, Drew attempts to reassure Willow about their current situation, confidently declaring that Justine Turner poses no immediate threat to their household. He promises Willow that Turner won't come knocking on their door with accusations or subpoenas anytime soon. However, Drew's confidence might be tragically misplaced, as he remains completely unaware of how close Justine has gotten to uncovering damaging information about their relationship and recent activities. Willow wants desperately to believe her lover's reassuring words, but lingering doubts cloud her judgment. She knows their affair has created countless complications, and the possibility of public exposure terrifies her. Drew's political career hangs in the balance, while Willow's custody arrangement with Michael Corinthos could be jeopardized if their relationship becomes public knowledge under unfavorable circumstances. Britt Westburn's difficult position. Dr. Britt Westburn finds herself deeply indebted to Jason Morgan once again after a particularly chaotic evening. The previous night brought unexpected challenges for Britt, who apparently overindulged in alcohol and found herself in a vulnerable state. Despite her professional reputation and typical composure, Britt's drunken evening could have ended disastrously if not for Jason's intervention. He ensured she safely received her crucial medication, potentially saving her life or preventing a serious medical emergency. When Britt regains consciousness and her faculties return, she faces an intense interrogation from Jason Morgan. The stone-cold enforcer wants specific information, and he's not interested in vague answers or deflection tactics. Jason demands to know the exact name of Britt's medication and, more importantly, the identity of whoever supplied these drugs to her. These questions aren't motivated by idle curiosity. Jason recognizes that understanding Britt's medication source could provide valuable intelligence about their current dangerous situation. However, Britt immediately recognizes the perilous position Jason's questions place her in. She correctly guesses what information Jason seeks, but providing those answers could sign death warrants for both of them. Britt has already witnessed firsthand exactly what Jen Sidwell is capable of doing to those who betray him or interfere with his operations. The international criminal has demonstrated his willingness to use violence, intimidation, and lethal force without hesitation. Revealing her connection to Sidwell through the medication could trigger consequences neither she nor Jason would survive. Sonny and Laura's strategic alliance. General Hospital spoilers indicate that Sonny Corinthos and Mayor Laura Collins will meet privately to compare notes and discuss their shared predicament. Both powerful Port Charles figures find themselves trapped in Sidwell's web of manipulation and threats. Neither one knows exactly how to extricate themselves from this dangerous situation, but they refuse to surrender their autonomy to a foreign criminal who thinks he can control their city. During their conversation, Sonny and Laura will strategize potential solutions and defensive measures. They understand that allowing someone like Sidwell to dictate terms and rule their lives sets a dangerous precedent. If they capitulate to his demands now, Sidwell will continue exploiting their weaknesses indefinitely. Both Sonny and Laura have built their reputations on strength and resilience, and they won't abandon those principles even when facing seemingly impossible odds. Lulu's explosive confrontation. Lulu Spencer reaches her breaking point when Jack Brennan approaches her with another request involving Charlotte Casadini. The blonde mother explodes with righteous fury, making her position absolutely clear. She bitterly regrets ever permitting Charlotte to visit with Valentin Casadini, and that decision has haunted her ever since. Now Jack wants to use Charlotte again as a pawn in some larger game, and Lulu will absolutely not tolerate it. Lulu's protective maternal instincts override any sense of obligation she might feel toward Brennan or his objectives. Charlotte has already suffered enough trauma and manipulation, and Lulu refuses to allow her daughter to be exploited further. Her explosive reaction demonstrates how far she's willing to go to shield Charlotte from additional harm, even if it means making powerful enemies. Valentin's mysterious condition. After successfully hiding Valentin Casadini in her shed, Carly faces yet another complication when Jocelyn Jacks unexpectedly arrives at the house. The situation grows increasingly precarious as Carly struggles to maintain her cover story while keeping Jocelyn away from the shed where Valentin remains concealed. However, the drama escalates dramatically when Valentin suddenly appears inside the main house wearing only a bathrobe and visibly shivering. Valentin's appearance raises immediate concerns and questions. The man looks genuinely distressed, possibly suffering from hypothermia or some other medical emergency that requires immediate attention. His trembling body and weakened condition suggest he desperately needs a doctor's care. However, viewers must wonder whether Valentin's apparent medical crisis represents genuine suffering or an elaborate deception designed to manipulate Carly's compassion and gain access to her home. Given Valentin's history of manipulation and strategic thinking, his sudden vulnerable appearance could be entirely staged. He might be faking his symptoms to elicit sympathy, secure better accommodations, or position himself for some larger scheme. Alternatively, his condition could be completely legitimate, placing Carly in an impossible ethical dilemma where refusing medical assistance could result in Valentin's death. This cliffhanger situation leaves viewers uncertain about Valentin's true condition and Carly's next move. Will she risk exposure by calling a doctor or attempt to treat him herself? How will she explain Valentin's presence if Jocelyn discovers him? The answers to these questions will determine whether Carly's risky decision to help Valentin becomes her greatest act of compassion or her most catastrophic mistake. Next, we will learn about the explosive developments surrounding Britt Westburn's pivotal role in what could become the most dramatic rescue mission Port Charles has ever witnessed. The stakes have never been higher as two of the city's most powerful figures find themselves trapped in an increasingly dangerous web of deception. And the key to their salvation may lie with an unexpected ally who holds secrets that could change everything. The blackmail scheme tightens its grip. Jen Sidwell has orchestrated what appears to be the perfect trap, wielding his power over both Laura Collins and Sonny Corinthos with ruthless precision. The crime lord has armed himself with what he believes to be irrefutable evidence, incriminating photographs that place them at the scene and the actual murder weapon used to end Henry Dalton's life. What makes this blackmail particularly insidious is Sidwell's claim that Laura's DNA now contaminates the weapon, creating a forensic nightmare that could destroy her reputation and send both her and Sonny to prison for a crime they didn't commit. The pressure Sidwell exerts grows more intense with each passing day, as he systematically strips away their options and forces them into impossible corners. He operates with the confidence of someone who has meticulously planned every detail, anticipating their moves before they even make them. However, beneath the surface of Sidwell's seemingly airtight scheme lies a critical vulnerability that he hasn't accounted for. His arrogance may prove to be his ultimate downfall, as he has failed to realize that someone else knows the truth about what really happened that fateful night. This oversight could unravel his entire operation and expose him for the calculating murderer he truly is. The irony is that while Sidwell believes he controls all the pieces on the board, there's one player he hasn't factored into his strategy, and that player could checkmate him when he least expects it. The silent observer who saw everything. Britt Westburn stands as the pivotal figure who could dismantle Sidwell's entire blackmail operation, though she may not yet fully grasp the magnitude of what she witnessed. She was present during the tragic moment when Henry Dalton's life was cut short, and her eyes saw exactly who pulled the trigger. Unlike Laura and Sonny, who arrived after the chaos had already unfolded, Britt observed the murder in real time and can testify with absolute certainty that Sidwell was the one who fired the fatal shot. Her presence at the scene wasn't mere coincidence, but rather places her in the unique position of being the only person who can definitively contradict Sidwell's fabricated narrative. Beyond just witnessing the murder itself, Britt has also picked up on subtle clues that Sidwell has inadvertently dropped throughout their interactions. His cryptic comments about Professor Henry Hank Dalton still possessing potential value even after death struck her as peculiar and revealing. These seemingly casual remarks weren't just idle conversation, but rather breadcrumbs that exposed the premeditated nature of his plan. Sidwell's need to keep referencing Dalton suggests he was carefully constructing a framework for the setup long before the murder occurred. Britt's sharp mind has begun connecting these dots, recognizing patterns that point to a much larger conspiracy than initially apparent. She understands that Sidwell didn't just commit murder in a moment of passion, but rather executed a calculated plot designed to frame others while positioning himself beyond suspicion. Jason becomes the bridge to truth. The catalyst for Britt's potential involvement in rescuing Laura and Sonny will likely come through Jason Morgan, who serves as the connecting thread between all the various players in this dangerous game. As Jason receives increasingly detailed updates about the blackmail situation threatening to people he cares deeply about, the weight of the information may compel him to seek counsel from someone he trusts. Britt represents that confidant, someone removed enough from the immediate situation to offer perspective, yet close enough to Jason to warrant his trust. When Jason finally confides in her about the full scope of the blackmail scheme, complete with the damning evidence Sidwell claims to possess, Britt's reaction will be one of genuine shock and disbelief. The moment Jason describes the murder weapon and the photographs, Britt's mind will race back to that night when she witnessed Sidwell commit the act. The revelation that Laura and Sonny are being framed for something she knows they didn't do will ignite a sense of urgency and moral obligation within her. She'll understand immediately that her silence makes her complicit in an injustice that could destroy innocent lives. When Britt reveals to Jason that she actually saw Sidwell murder Dalton with her own eyes, the dynamic of the entire situation will shift dramatically. Jason's initial disbelief will quickly transform into strategic thinking as he realizes they now possess the ammunition needed to fight back against Sidwell's blackmail. The credibility question and possible solutions. While Britt's testimony would theoretically pit her word against Sidwell's in any legal proceeding, Her account carries significant weight that could sway authorities and public opinion alike. The key advantage Britt possesses is her lack of obvious motive to fabricate such a story, whereas Sidwell has clear incentives to lie and manipulate the truth. If Britt chooses to expose the entire shady operation she's been reluctantly involved in, providing context for why she was present that night and what she's been doing for Sidwell, her testimony becomes even more compelling. Full transparency about her own compromised position would demonstrate credibility and a willingness to accept consequences for her own actions, making her statements about the murder itself more believable to investigators. The authorities would find her detailed account of events difficult to dismiss, especially if she can provide specific information about the timeline, Sidwell's demeanor, and other particulars that only someone who was actually present could know. Her medical background and professional reputation, despite her current predicament, lend additional credibility to her observations. Prosecutors and investigators tend to find witnesses who have nothing to gain and much to lose from coming forward to be particularly reliable. And Britt fits that profile perfectly. Alternative pathways to liberation. Beyond simply testifying about what she witnessed, Britt might possess knowledge that could be even more immediately valuable to Laura and Sonny's situation. Her time working within Sidwell's operation has likely given her insights into his methods, his hiding places, and his habits that others wouldn't have access to. If Britt has discovered where Sidwell stores his incriminating evidence, including the photographs and murder weapon he's using for blackmail, she could potentially orchestrate a theft that would neutralize his leverage entirely. This approach would be more direct and immediate than waiting for legal proceedings to unfold, though it would also carry tremendous personal risk. Should Britt successfully retrieve these items, Jason would have the means and expertise to ensure they disappear permanently, eliminating the physical evidence Sidwell relies upon to maintain his control. Without the photographs and weapon, Sidwell's blackmail scheme collapses like a house of cards, leaving him exposed and vulnerable. The technical challenge would be accessing wherever Sidwell keeps these items secured, but Britt's inside position gives her opportunities that no one else would have. She could potentially create diversions, exploit moments when Sidwell is distracted, or leverage her trusted status within his operation to gain access to restricted areas. The personal cost of heroism. Any action Britt takes against Sidwell will come with potentially devastating personal consequences that she must carefully weigh. The most immediate threat involves her medication supply, which Sidwell controls and could cut off at any moment if he suspects betrayal. For someone dependent on these doses for her well-being, the prospect of losing access represents a terrifying possibility that could compromise her health and safety. Sidwell wouldn't hesitate to use this leverage if he discovered Britt was working against him, making any move she makes fraught with danger. Beyond the medication issue, confronting or undermining Sidwell puts Britt in direct physical danger from a man who has already proven himself capable of murder. He eliminated Henry Dalton without hesitation when the professor became inconvenient, and he would likely view Britt's betrayal with even greater rage given that she was supposed to be under his control. The risks are substantial and very real, yet the narrative positioning of Britt as the witness to Dalton's murder wasn't arbitrary. The writers have deliberately placed her in this role because she's meant to play a crucial part in resolving this storyline and bringing Sidwell's reign of terror to an end. Inevitable collision course. The trajectory of this storyline makes Britt's deeper involvement with Jason, Sonny, and Laura's predicament essentially unavoidable at this point. Too many narrative threads connect her to the central conflict for her to remain on the sidelines much longer. Her knowledge of the murder, her position within Sidwell's operation, her growing connection to Jason, and her moral compass all point toward an active role in the coming confrontation. The dramatic tension has been carefully building toward a moment where Britt must choose between self-preservation and doing what's right, between maintaining her fragile safety and exposing herself to danger for the sake of justice. When that moment arrives, and it will arrive soon, Britt will need to summon every ounce of courage she possesses to stand against Sidwell and reveal the truth. Her testimony or actions could be the catalyst that finally brings down this dangerous criminal and frees Laura and Sonny from his blackmail. The personal cost may be high, but the stakes are too significant for her to remain silent. Port Charles needs her to be brave, and she may discover reservoirs of strength she didn't know she had. The deepening bond between Jason and Britt. As this crisis unfolds and Britt becomes increasingly involved in helping resolve it, an unexpected consequence may emerge in the form of a strengthening relationship between her and Jason. Shared danger and working toward a common goal have a way of forging powerful connections between people, and the intensity of what they'll face together could draw them closer than either anticipated. Jason will come to see Britt not just as someone who can help his loved ones, but as a remarkable woman willing to risk everything for what's right. Her courage in the face of genuine threats will earn his respect and admiration in ways that casual interaction never could. For Britt, working alongside Jason will reveal depths to his character that she may not have fully appreciated before, and his unwavering commitment to protecting those he cares about will resonate with her own values. The trust they'll need to place in each other as they navigate the dangerous waters ahead will create intimacy and understanding that forms the foundation for something deeper. Viewers should pay close attention to the subtle moments between them, the shared glances and unspoken communication that signals a connection forming beneath the surface of their crisis-driven partnership. What begins as an alliance of necessity may evolve into something neither of them expected, but both desperately need.